Hey guys, so I'm just making another video here and hoping to do some of you a favor. Back in like 2017, 2018, I tried to attempt to make a final drive, basically ring and pinion for the S54 transaxle. This got me thinking because I remember that I have this stuff for sale, but I thought I didn't have a ring and pinion available. But now looking back on it, looking back on my offer up post, I still do. The reason I came up with this idea again was because when I did it the first time, there was a minimum order. I had to be like 10, but then they moved it to 15, and then eventually moved it to 20. Once I send them the actual ring and pinion, they're able to measure everything. I was gonna make it in a 4.9 for like 10 people, but then since I couldn't get another 10, that whole thing got scrapped. But now that I found a guy in Thailand, I'm gonna send him my stuff to make an E-Series box, the proper gearing and possibly even a final drive for E-Series Narrow. I figured if any of you guys are interested, it doesn't really need to be a minimum for this group buy. I mean, I guess it makes it better for him on his end if he makes more than just one. But the guy has a legitimate business that he does a lot of gear ratios, custom stuff. It's called MTM. Is the only one on the whole planet that I can find. Nobody else wants to help because everybody just wants to make a profit off of you. They don't even if it is benefiting a small community of people. That's just the way business is. I don't know. I don't have my own business. I don't know how things work in that regard. But that being said, apparently there still is a lot of S54 transaxle parts available. People in South Africa tune these engines. They put the Altezza motors in the front-wheel drive layout. They do drag racing. They do tarmac. They do rallying. So S54 doesn't have a problems with oil starvation. I thought it did, but they seem to be doing just fine. So if you guys are interested in doing this sort of final drive upgrade, there doesn't have to be a minimum group buy for this. You can do different variations. If you guys, anybody wants a 4.5, 4.7, 4.9, that's possible. I don't know what the limitations of like the gearing is. Obviously the higher the number, if you're doing a 4.9 or 5.1, that's really making that final drive a weak point in the transaxle. But I don't think that's a problem if you're naturally aspirated. If you're turbo and you're pushing a lot of power, then yeah, I can see like going to like a 4.7 or 4 or whatever, 4.9. I don't see how that'd be possible since turbos are really meant for mid-range. Then that would be a problem with the durability of the actual component. But as you see here, those are the E-Series stuff that I'm doing, that I'm going to send one of them to him. But there in the back end, I have the output shaft, which is the driven gears, and then we have here the differential, the open diff, and the ring. So that's pinion and ring. It's called ring and pinion. So basically he's going to be able to make them in semi-helical cut, which is what all aftermarket manufacturers make them in. COS, C1, basically any manufacturer that does gearing for cars, they use a semi-helical cut, unless they specify in their description saying it's full helical design, but that is more expensive, so that's why they usually go with that cheaper option. But like I said, if any of you guys are interested, we can get this going. Once I send them this transaxle, I can send them this and push up all the gears off that one, and then we can get pricing going. I think it's going to be around 800 to like 825 for a ring and pinion. And like I said, there's still technically parts available according to the guy in South Africa. When I checked for parts, when I was going to rebuild this for my S54, some of the parts weren't available, some of the synchros weren't available, and they don't make aftermarket kits, so that's why I kind of shied away from the S54 and am now looking at the E350 setup. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Down below I'll list the proper gear ratios of 4.5, 4.7, and 4.9, so you can see with different tire setups, so you can kind of have an idea what the gears will be, what the cruising speed will be at 75 or 70 miles per hour on the freeway. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. If you guys are interested in buying anything, don't be shy to ask, and that's going to be all for now.